Hey Planeswalkers, it's Steve for CollectorMania. We're here doing another commander deck for our Commander Collection series. We're focusing on another new commander that's Vona, Butcher of Magan? Yeah, something like that. So it is a 3-cost, black and white, legendary vampire knight, 4/4 with vigilance and lifelink. It also has the tap ability of pay 7 life, destroy target non-land permanent, activate this ability only during your turn. So keep in mind that is still, you can do this at instant speed, but it is only during your turn. So keep that in mind. I know a lot of people have been kind of confused about that. So it works with combat. There's a whole bunch of different ways you can apply it, but you can't do it on anybody else's turn. So interesting, very interesting. Not a bad planeswalker. Legendary creature though. Breaking into our creatures here, first up we've got Blood Artist. So of course our deck wants to gain as much life as it possibly can. So Blood Artist is a great way to do this. It also, hurts your opponents, and then, usually you can win the game with this in a lot of ways. Just whittling your opponents down 1 life by 1 life, and it really benefits your commander as well. And then we've got another new card in Blood-Crazed Paladin. This is a great card for just bamboozling your opponents. They go for a board wipe, they kill all the creatures on board, and then all of a sudden you flash this out and you've got a 20/20 vampire that's going to swing at them probably next turn and just wipe them out. So there's that. Not often do you see flash on creatures that have an ability like this. Then we've got Drana's Emissary. Going back to what we stated earlier with Blood Artist, we want to gain as much life as we can. And having a flying 2/2 that essentially gains you life at the beginning of your upkeep and then also hurts your opponents is always good. So there's that. Now we've got a key vampire in any vampire tribal strategy, and that's Bloodline Keeper. Of course, you want to include this in any deck that is looking to make a ton of vampires, and this makes you a ton of tokens, buffs all your guys when it flips over. It's everything you want in one package. Then we've got a Cliffhaven Vampire. This is a really interesting one. So it's kind of like weaponizing life gain. It says whenever you gain life, each opponent loses 1 life. So keep in mind, this is an instance of gaining life. So if you gain 5 life, you're not dealing somebody 5 damage. You're only dealing them 1 damage. But if you work it out to where you're gaining 1 life, 1 life, 1 life, 1 life, then you are dealing them 5 damage. So not bad at all. Really interesting. Include 2/4 flyers are never bad. Flyers in general are never bad. So fits right into this deck, that's for sure. And we've got another new card, and that's Sanctum Seeker. This is a 4-cost Vampire Knight, 3/4. It states whenever a vampire you control attacks, each opponent loses 1 life and you gain 1 life. So really, really good. This is individual, which is kind of crazy to me. So it's whenever a vampire you control attacks, each opponent loses 1 life and you gain 1 life. Yeah, that's crazy. It's like a really weird Hell Rider. Just kind of bizarre. And then we've got a Bishop of Rebirth, a kind of pseudo Sun Titan type effect. Really good at getting a lot of your lower cost vampires back into play from your graveyard. It's got Vigilance, of course, 3/4, not a bad body either. And the artwork is amazing. Like, one of the prettier cards, in my opinion, from the set. Then we've got a Blood Baron of Vizkopa. We could not include this guy in this deck. I mean, he's perfect for it. He's a 3 colorless, 1 white, 1 black vampire creature, 4/4, lifelink, protection from white and from black, which is kind of odd. He's protection from his own colors. And as long as you have 30 or more life and an opponent has 10 or less life, Blood Baron Vizkopa gets +6/+6 and has flying. So obviously that's our stated goal anyway, so this guy just kind of adds on a little bit of benefit when we get there. So really cool card. Then we've got a Bloodline Necromancer. This card's really, really good for vampire decks and wizards decks. It's kind of cool that it only works for those two, but it kind of sucks at the same time because it's an amazing reanimation creature. I mean, if you think about it, you're getting a 3/2 and then whatever creature you're getting back from your yard back into play. It's pretty amazing. I highly recommend this in any vampire or wizard build. Then we've got a Makir Bloodwitch. Malakir, sorry. Amazing vampire for this deck. It's flying, protection from white, costs 5, 4/4. When Malakir Bloodwitch enters the battlefield, each opponent loses life equal to the number of vampires you control. You gain life equal to life lost this way. So not only, once again, is it doing everything we want it to, it's a flyer to boot. So, I mean, it's threat on top of threat. Really, really good card for the deck. Then we've got a Patron of the Vein, another new card from Commander 2017. This is a 6-cost 4/4 flyer. It states when Patron of the Vein enters the battlefield, destroy target creature an opponent controls. So you've got removal on a stick there. And whenever a creature an opponent controls dies, exile it and put a +1/+1 counter on each vampire you control. That's huge. Really, really good vampire. Once again, great tribal addition. And then we've got the old black-white commander for vampires, and that's Vishkal, Blood Arbiter. He is a 7-cost, 5/5 flying lifelink vampire. Sacrifice a creature, put X +1/+1 counters on Vishkal, Blood Arbiter, where X is the number, or sacrifice creature's power, so pretty good. Remove all +1/+1 counters from Vishkal. Target creature gets -1/-1 until end of turn for each +1/+1 counter removed this way. So not only is he a way to gain a bunch of life, a way to remove things, he's just, once again, a large flyer that can do a ton of damage, and perfect for our strategy. Okay, so breaking into our artifacts here. First up, we've got an Elixir of Immortality. This card, of course, should be included in any commander deck. As I've stated, pretty much, you know, you either have this or you have like Eldrazi or spells that are going to reshuffle your graveyard. You always want that type of effect anytime. Anyway, but in this deck, it kind of has a double benefit, because if you're needing that 7 life or whatever, and you just don't want to break into your, you know, life total if it's low or something like that, you can just start sacrificing this, reshuffling your graveyard, gaining that 5 life, and then you just wait till you find it again. So it's a way to kind of gain, you know, a pretty sizable amount of life for your activated ability just by paying 2 mana and tapping this. So not bad at all. And then we've got a Heirloom Blade. Really good for pretty much any tribal strategy. I really like it for vampire decks and decks that don't necessarily have, for this one, for example, only has like 28 creatures or something like that. So you kind of want to spin through a lot of your deck just to find your other guys, just to get them out there, especially if somebody wraths or something like that. This is a great way to just find, you know, your Bloodline Keeper or anything like that. So really cool card from the Commander 2017 product. Then we've got one of our pseudo win conditions, and that's Aetherflux Reservoir. I mean, if you can get this thing going, you can really gain a lot of life and then just sacrifice it and kill somebody. So that works really well in our benefit. Really fun card. I recommend this in this type of deck always. Then we've got another new card, that's Vanquishers Banner. So it's a 5-cost artifact. As Vanquishers Banner enters the battlefield, choose a creature type. Of course, for us, it's going to be vampires. Creatures you control the chosen type get +1/+1, so kind of a lord. Whenever you cast a creature spell of the chosen type, draw a card. That's huge. Card draw in these colors isn't always great, so having this is going to be amazing. Okay, and I believe our last artifact that we're featuring is Venser's Journal. This is more of just a fun way to gain a ton of life and basically have no maximum hand size. I haven't really included this card in the deck for quite a while, so it was kind of fun just to throw this in somewhere, just, you know, where it actually, you know, really matters. So here we are. Okay, on from our artifacts, we are going to our enchantments. First up, we've got a new enchantment from Ixalan, and that's Legion's Landing. So it's a 1-cost legendary enchantment. It's when Legion's Landing enters the battlefield, create a 1/1 white vampire creature token with lifelink, so not bad. Gives you a little bit of defense and offense right up front. When you attack with 3 or more creatures, transform Legion's Landing, and then it transforms into Adanto the First Fort. Love these artworks. These flip card, the other side just looks absolutely ridiculous. I would have loved to see these in like a masterpiece treatment, but here we are. So transforms from Legion's Landing, add 1 white mana to your mana pool, so it's a land, of course. And then pay 2 colorless, 1 white, and tap, create a 1/1 white vampire creature token with lifelink. So great token generator for late game, and also a land, of course, and then just really good for early game just to get, you know, a guy out there and start swinging or blocking or whatever you need to do, really. And then we've got Saengmin Bond. This card, of course, is a 2-card combo with Exquisite Blood and then Vizkopa Guildmage. There are 2 cards to, of course, combo off with this. I didn't really include either one of those in here, of course. One's not a vampire and the other one's another 5-cost enchantment, just because, I don't know, I've won that way millions of times already, and it's kind of dull to me. So I just wanted to include this one to kind of weaponize our life gain. I didn't want to go infinite with it. I just wanted to, you know, nail somebody with, you know, I gained 7 life, you just lost 7 life, something like that. But keep in mind, if you do want to run that strategy, it's really good. It'll definitely win you some games, so that's a definite include if you're looking for it. So an Exquisite Blood if you want to, but I prefer Saengmin Bond. Okay, on from our enchantments, we've got our instant speed spells. First up, we've got a mainstay in pretty much any white strategy, and that's Swords to Plowshares. But once again, just like our Elixir of Immortality, this has a double benefit to us, because if we are a little bit low on life and we just need to destroy something, we can exile one of our bigger creatures, which, you know, that's going to be tough, but it's possible that you may need to. gain a bunch of life, and then just nail or destroy something with the activated ability of our commander. And then we've got another new card, and that's Teferi's Protection. This is a real gotcha card. Like, somebody goes to combo out with their Kiki-Jiki, makes a bunch of tokens with whatever, and then they go to swing at everybody, and then you just Teferi's Protection, and then you're safe for that turn. So there's a lot of instances where this can be really beneficial. For, like, example, if somebody goes to, like, Yokel Hops and destroy everything, now you've saved all your stuff and everybody else's stuff is getting destroyed. So there's a lot of benefits to running a card like this. I wish I had more copies of it. It's just that good. Now we've got another new card. This is Settle the Wreckage. This card is bonkers. I know a lot of people they're on two sides of the camp, essentially. They're on the side of the camp where it's like, I'm going to swing a bunch of tokens and then I'm going to exile all my tokens and get a whole bunch of lands. I mean, that's really good. Or I'm going to exile my opponent's attackers and then hopefully they don't have that many basic lands in their deck. So either way, the card is great. I mean, it's good as a defensive spell. It's good as a ramp spell. But only if you're really set up to do that. So, I mean, if you're making 1/1 vampire tokens like this deck is trying to do, I mean, if you think about it, you swing 3 tokens and that's already better than an Explosive Vegetation, so on and so forth. You swing 4 tokens and that's way better than Explosive Vegetation. And you can go as high as you want to. I mean, I recommend you play around with that strategy a little bit. Since I haven't really played it, I don't know how well it's going to work out, but this card is definitely making a lot of waves in the format in what we can do with it. And I love that it's so versatile that way. So really interesting card. Plus it's mono white, so I mean that's a way for mono white to ramp, which doesn't really happen that often. Okay, on from our instance, we're into our sorceries. First up, we've got a Walk the Plank. I know this is a little bit off flavor. I just kind of threw it in here just because I had it. So it should be in the Pirates deck instead of the Vampires deck, but here we are. So it's a 2-cost sorcery speed spell, destroy target non-merfolk creature. Really interesting little, kill something. I wish it was instant speed, but what can you do? Now we've got another new card from the Commander 2017 product, and that's New Blood. This is a great way just to gain control of somebody else's commander, somebody else's anything, just gain control of it. Doesn't matter, there's no Olivia to lose control of this time, so you just keep the creature for as long as it survives, unless they have like a Homeward Path, of course, or something like that. Really interesting card. Great like mind control effect. Then we've got another key card to our strategy, and that's Blood Tribute. If you think about it, this is a way to gain a ton of life and then just, once again, just start destroying permanents. So that, and with like Aetherflux Reservoir, this is, yeah, it's so good. So there's that. And then another new card from Ixalan, and that's Boneyard Parlay. Now this card's kind of wacky, and I actually really like it. It's bizarre. So 7-cost sorcery, exile up to 5 target creature cards from graveyards. An opponent separates those cards into 2 piles. Put all cards from the pile of your choice onto the battlefield under your control, and the rest into their owner's graveyards. So there's a lot of really fun ways to play around with this. This is kind of like a fact or fiction, and remember how good that is to reveal the top 5 cards and then have a reanimation creature like your vampire in there. Now all of a sudden you're making your opponents make really tough choices, because now they've got a reanimation creature to worry about. So for example, you grab like your angel, what is that angel called? I can't think of it. The one that has echo. I can't remember. Anyway, that angel and like your vampire, anything that will essentially Shroom's a good example. Anything that'll reanimate something else from your graveyard, and then now they have to separate that out so it doesn't hit the graveyard, but it does hit the graveyard. So yeah, there's a ton of strategy you can work around with this card. It's really cool. And then we've got our last feature card, which is a land, and that's Path to Ancestry. This is another new card from the Commander 2017 product. It enters the battlefield tapped, and then it has add to your mana pool 1 mana of any color in your commander's color identity. When that mana is spent to cast a creature spell that shares a creature type with your commander, scry 1. So really cool for, tribal strategies, but also keep in mind that it'll still tap for whatever color you need. So it's kind of like a, almost better kind of Cavern Souls, except for without the benefit of being able to counter or not counter stuff. So better in some ways, way worse in other ways. It's still an interesting land. So with that is the entire deck. As I said on our last video for Tishana, I really hope you guys are looking forward to our Commander Challenge video. It'll come out probably next Friday. We're going to film it on Thursday, get it out on Friday. Eric will actually be playing this deck. He's really excited to play vampires for like the 5th time. But, you know, what can you do? Should be a lot of fun, and we will definitely see you then. Thanks, guys.